Hey YouTube, bit of a different video today, probably not for my regular audience. I normally do guitars and stuff like that, but I was talking to my pal the other night about switched on Bach. We'd never heard it. This is not available, basically. It's been out of print forever. Walter Carlos, inventor of the Moog, or him and Robert Moog built this telephone exchangey looking thing to make Moog music. This came out in 1968. As far as I'm aware, it came out on CD at one point. I remember looking for it about 10, maybe 20 years ago, and it was like a special import classical thing. I think it's pretty rare on CD, just for the first album. And apparently there was a box set, a CD box set that came out that had more than one album on it. But apart from that, that's the only way you can get this, apart from buying the old records. There's some sort of mad copyright thing on it, so it's not on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, anything like that. It should be listened to by everyone. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. So I'm just making a quick video here, running through the ones you get. So this is Switched On Bach, 1968. That's just my mum and dad's old record. That's just, I bought it because it had a slightly different cover. So he's standing up in this picture. That's 68 as well. This is a Canadian. That's a Canadian version. So same sort of thing. Then you've got the sequel, which is Well Tempered Synthesizer. And again, I bought another one. You can buy this on eBay quite easily, a couple of quid, or all of them. They're not expensive, but you need to have a record player to play them. They're not available on CD or anything like that. So I'm just running through these quickly for everyone. Yep. So we've got the Well Tempered Synthesizer, the second one. It's 19. I don't know. It's after 1968. It doesn't have a number on it. Again, I bought another one. This is a New Zealand version. I don't know how that got here. Sonic Seasonings, which is a sort of funny one. Is it ambient music, I think you call it? I don't really listen to music like this, but you kind of put it on in the background, and it's what I think that Brian Eno music for airports type thing is. You stick it on the background, it's just a sort of pleasant ambience. It's quite bizarre, actually. Yeah. Clockwork Orange. If you've seen Clockwork Orange, you've heard Walter Carlos before. He did all the Moogie stuff. It's amazing. This is the actual film soundtrack, which I don't think Stanley Kubrick used very much of. There is a film soundtrack record which does have Singing in the Rain and all these things on it from Clockwork Orange and stuff that's actually from the film, but this is music that was made for the film but didn't actually get used. It's quite a mad cover, actually. I should probably hold these up to the camera a bit more, shouldn't I? Yeah, mental. And then a sequel, what about Switched On Bach 2? So those two are from 1972, this one's from 1973. He's now in space. And then a couple of compilation-y ones. So that's all the Brandenburg concertos, or the 3, 4 and 5 Brandenburg concertos, which are on the previous records. And then again, there's a sort of pop album, which is it's got some of the best stuff on it, but it's also got some of the most annoying, crappy stuff. Yeah, so basically that was just a very, very quick run through of what Walter Carlos does. 3 minutes, not too bad. Now I can actually talk about it. Right, so Walter Carlos, quite famously, is no longer Walter Carlos, is now Wendy. She is now Wendy Carlos. I think the CD version of Switched On Bach is actually Wendy Carlos, not Walter Carlos. Yeah, and she also did the music for Tron and some other things like that, but that's, you're now getting on into the sort of 80s when it wasn't as moogie, if that's a word. But I mean, amazing stuff. I don't listen to classical music, but I think, see, if you listen to Bach on, like, done the way it was well, I suppose it was intended, back in the day. And when I'm not saying the day, I'm not saying the 60s, I'm saying the day as in ignorance showed up. I don't know when Bach was about, hundreds of years ago. It was like, cellos and violins and stuff like that. So although there's many different parts running at the same time, they've all got a similar sort of timbre sound type thing, because a violin and a cello, okay, they're different registers and they do sound different, they're not that different, whereas when you've got a Moog you can have all sorts of crazy noises, which basically makes it much easier to hear what's going on, because you can have, like, very, the three parts. There's a lot of Fujis on these Bach Fujis, and Fujis means three voices. So there's three melody lines are all running at the same time, and the way they intertwine is fantastic. They're much more separated when done by Walter Carlos, because he You know, it's not like a violin, a cello, and a double bass, or violin and two cellos. That they can choose very different sonically sounding things. Also, it's in stereo, which makes a big difference. Fantastic. You'll recognise half the tunes on it. You know, there's hits on, I don't know what you'd call it, hits. You know, air and a G string, and all that lot on them. But basically, if you've never heard and you're sort of even remotely interested in, it just totally blows my mind. I don't listen to classical music. I don't listen to this in the car driving up to Pitlochry for like a year and a half, just full bung in the stereo, like an hour and a half's drive every day. It was amazing, pure pump. People are expecting, I'm going to be listening to Iron Maiden or something like that. No. Amazing. So basically, do yourself a favour. If you've got a record player, go on eBay, pick up Switched On Bach for a couple of quid, and listen to it and have your mind completely blown. It's not the sort of thing I would normally listen to, but wow, really, it's just, if you're into music at all, it's sick. And it's like, you can't even, being someone like me, I sit there and go up here, music's amazing, Jimi Hendrix, what a master, and Steve Vai and all these things. It's amazing what they can do with a guitar. It's absolutely nothing compared to Bach. Absolutely nothing. It's like, what's amazes me so much about it is it's so catchy, but it never seems to play the same thing twice. It's like, you think of like Stone's Satisfaction, da, 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 what an amazing riff, but it does that about 50 times during the song. The Bach stuff, it's just like, I think it is pure mathematics in some ways, how you manage to play so many notes that are all different, that all make so much sense, and it all works and flows and all that stuff, and there's so much emotion in it. It's amazing. And especially the actual physical attempt to make all these sounds using this telephone exchange thing, the amount of work, I think you're talking about a whole day sitting with all the modules just to try and get half a dozen notes recorded, and I think they're all recorded one at a time and blah blah blah. So rating them, Switched On Bach, you have to have that. It's not buyable. If you're any sort of into music at all, you need to have heard this. You need to own this. Get on eBay, buy it. There's not accepting. I can't accept that nobody can appreciate how amazing it is if you're into music. I just can't. I can't accept that. Yeah. So, and then there's one with a slightly different cover. If you're in Canada, that's the one you're looking for. The Untitled Synthesizer's not as good. It's not all Bach. It's got Monteverdi. I don't know who these people are. I just know the name. They don't have like catchy song titles. Like I just said, they're like, Satisfaction, Jumpin' Jack Flash. No, it's all Sonata in G major, Sonata in D major. So this has got Monteverdi, Scarlatti, Handel, and it's got one of the Brandenburg concertos on it. So in some ways, it's introduced me to music that I just don't know anything about. Because I like obviously you like classical music, like like the music in Trading Places and stuff like that, the sort of greatest hits of classical music. But when you actually listen to classic FM, it's just a big dirge and you get pure bored. Totally don't get bored with these at all. We'll turn for Synthesizer again. This one, I don't know. I've not listened. This isn't one I put onto CD and listen to in the car. I'll be honest. I don't need ambient noise in the car. I'm quite happy just letting I kind of want to drown out the wind noise and the road noise and the screaming of people that I'm running over. So it's it's bizarre. Maybe seeing in the background of a restaurant or something would be amazing. Or an art gallery. Have this playing in your art gallery just constantly, just so it's not silent. Amazing. Clockwork Orange soundtrack. The film soundtrack is pretty good. It does have some good stuff on it. This record though, however, it's amazing. It's stunning. I'm so pleased my pal talked about this last night, and I was like, I need to look out those records, get them out. So basically, yes, awesome. But you have to buy the first one. What's that one? Switched On Bach 2. Again, it's not as good. I think it's just because the first one is so good. He chose all the best tunes to do on the first one. The synthesizer is progressing through all these as well, because the first one, I think when he started, it was it was maybe only this size, and then as he was building it, he was on the phone to Robert Moog saying, I want you to build something that does this. You know, and it was actually, you know, building these units, the separate compartments that did different things to try and get round things. So the synthesizer is evolving. Switched on Bach 2 is, once you've got Switched on Bach 1, you're gonna, and you get it, you're gonna want all of these anyway. That is, it's like a compilation. It's nice having them all in the same order, but I mean, really, it's not necessary. Buy that. Buy that anyway. Once you're a mad nutter like me and just likes, you know, the covers and the fact. And these things aren't expensive. I mean, I'm obviously not paying hundreds of pounds for these sort of things. I'm paying a fiver, a couple of quid, because nobody knows what they are. This one has some of the best stuff on it. It's totally let down though in its listening experience because it's got some very early electronic music on it. Was it one called Dialogues for Piano and 2 Loudspeakers, and it's far too avant-garde for me. It's not a tune, you know. It's like someone's done it with a tape loop. It just kind of goes like that for 5 minutes, and you're like, it's not joyous listening. On the other side, it's got they're kind of annoyingly they're not all at the end either. They should have put all those songs, you know, the sort of experimental electronic music at the end, so that when you got to those ones you could just turn off the record. Instead they're kind of stuck in the middle. But it starts off with the Nutcracker Suite, and the first one, which I didn't know, I mean, I didn't know this was the Nutcracker Suite. It's absolutely the best piece of music in the universe ever on this record. And then it's got a couple of really annoying, those ones that was just like someone going, They're pretty annoying. Then it's got another Brandenburg Concerto on it, which is on that sort of, not greatest hits, but the Brandenburg Concerto thing, and a couple of pop songs, which I've just found out when I was looking this up online earlier on, was a single, which was Eleanor Rigby, which is brilliant, you know, the Beatles song, amazing. And then What's New Pussycat, which if you ever want to blow someone's mind, put that on. If they're ever on some sort of crazy drugs and freaking out and they're sitting there going, oh mad, listen to this mad Pink Floyd, or, you know, listen to this, you know, Genesis or something crazy, you got that, you just totally trump them with What's New Pussycat on this. It's just, it's like nothing else I've ever heard before. Well, it is, you know the tune, because it's, you know, Pussycat, it's that, but amazing. Right, I'm actually talking about that for 12 minutes. It was only meant to be 3 minutes. So, buy those records. Catch you later.